The warning lights flashed across every screen in Repair Station Beta 7's control room. Captain James Gray rubbed his tired eyes, wondering if the late-night alert was worth the interruption to his coffee break. In his 15 years running the station, he'd seen everything from minor dents to complete engine failures. But this alert was different. "Captain, you need to see this," called Mike from the tracking station. "We've got a Class A merchant vessel dropping out of faster-than-light travel, and their distress beacon is screaming red." Gray moved quickly to the main display. The ship that appeared on the screen made his jaw drop. It was massive, easily 3 times the size of the largest human cargo vessels. Its hull sparkled with an otherworldly sheen that seemed to pulse with its own life. "That's a veteran trading ship," Gray whispered, recognizing the distinctive biomechanical design. The veterans were known throughout the galaxy for their advanced technology. They rarely ventured into human space, considering Earth's technology too primitive for their tastes. "They're hailing us," Mike announced, his fingers hovering over the communications panel. "Put them through," Gray ordered, straightening his uniform jacket. The screen flickered to life, revealing a tall, elegant figure with iridescent skin and eyes that seemed to contain swirling galaxies. "This is High Merchant Rel of the Veteran Commerce Guild," the alien announced, its translator converting the musical language into English. "We request immediate emergency docking clearance." "This is Captain Gray of Repair Station Beta 7. We stand ready to assist. What seems to be the problem, High Merchant?" The alien's expression shifted to something that might have been embarrassment. "Our primary crystal core has developed unexpected resonance patterns. 3 other repair stations have already refused to help, claiming incompatibility with our systems." Gray understood their hesitation. Veteran crystal technology was legendary for its complexity. Even a minor mistake in repairs could cause a catastrophic chain reaction. But he also knew that turning away a ship in distress went against everything his station stood for. "Permission granted for emergency docking," Gray declared. "Bay 4 is clearing now. We'll have our assessment team ready." The relief on the alien's face was clear even across species barriers. "You understand our systems are quite advanced." "High Merchant," Gray interrupted politely. "At Beta 7, we have a saying. If humans built it, we can fix it. If aliens built it, we'll figure it out. Please proceed to Bay 4. As the massive ship slowly maneuvered into position, Gray called his best engineer. "Tom, get your team ready. We've got an interesting one." Tom was already heading to the bay, tool belt clanking. "What's the story, Cap?" "Veteran merchant ship, crystal core problems." Tom whistled. "Never worked on one of those before. Should be fun." "Fun. It's their most advanced technology. One wrong move and—" "Cap," Tom cut in, grinning, "that's what they all say. Remember that Zorblack's fighter last month? They said their quantum manifolds were too advanced for us too. Fixed it with some copper wire and a reprogrammed Earth coffee maker." Gray shook his head but couldn't help smiling. This was why human repair stations were slowly gaining a reputation across the galaxy. Where other species saw impossible problems, humans saw challenges to overcome. Where aliens relied on specialized tools and technical manuals, humans used creativity and whatever they had on hand. As the massive veteran ship settled into the docking bay, its crystal-powered systems casting dancing lights across the walls, Gray felt the familiar excitement of a new challenge. His team might not have the most advanced technology in the galaxy, but they had something that often proved more valuable: the ability to think outside the box, to see solutions where others saw only problems. The station's repair crews were already gathering, their expressions a mix of awe and determination. High Merchant Rel would soon learn why more and more alien ships were choosing human repair stations, despite their supposedly primitive technology. Sometimes the best solutions came from the simplest places. Tom stood before the exposed crystal core of the veteran ship, his eyes wide with wonder. The massive crystal formation pulsed with deep purple light, its surface covered in intricate patterns that seemed to move on their own. Behind him, High Merchant Rel, and 3 other veteran engineers watched nervously. "Fascinating," Tom muttered, pulling out his old Earth-made scanner. "It's like watching a heartbeat." "Please be careful," one of the veteran engineers warned. "The crystalline matrix is extremely sensitive too." He stopped mid-sentence, watching in horror as Tom gently tapped the crystal with a simple wrench. The crystal's glow flickered, and a clear note rang through the chamber. Tom nodded to himself, making quick notes on his tablet. "Just as I thought. The resonance is off." "Off." High Merchant Rel stepped forward. "Our systems show no such thing. The crystal's quantum alignment is simply—" "Look here," Tom interrupted, pointing to a spot where the crystal's light seemed dimmer. "Your crystal's not just technology. It's alive, right? And like any living thing, it can get sick. This isn't a technical problem. It's more like a fever." The veterans exchanged confused looks. Their advanced civilization had moved so far beyond primitive biological problems that they struggled to understand Tom's comparison. "Bill," Tom called to his assistant, "bring me that old radio speaker from the workshop. And grab some of that copper wire we salvaged from the Mars colony shipment." "You can't possibly mean to use such basic materials on our advanced systems," another veteran engineer protested. Tom smiled as Bill returned with the requested items. "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways. Your crystal's resonating at the wrong frequency. It's like an instrument that's out of tune. We just need to help it find the right note again." Working quickly, Tom connected the speaker to the crystal using the copper wire. He pulled out a small device he'd built himself, a mixture of Earth electronics and parts salvaged from a dozen alien ships. "This might sound a bit strange," he warned, turning on his device. A low hum filled the chamber. The crystal's purple glow pulsed in response. Tom adjusted the frequency carefully, watching the patterns on the crystal surface. Suddenly, the dim spot brightened, and the entire core began glowing with renewed strength. "Impossible," whispered High Merchant Rel. "You corrected the quantum resonance with sound waves." "Not exactly," Tom explained, disconnecting his equipment. "The speaker wasn't making the sound, it was listening. Your crystal was trying to tell us what it needed. We just had to pay attention and give it a reference point to realign itself." Bill grinned at the shocked expressions on the veterans' faces. "That's how we do things here. Sometimes you don't need fancy quantum tools. Sometimes you just need to understand the basics." The repair reminded Tom of his grandfather's old garage back on Earth. He'd learned his most valuable lessons there, fixing everything from ancient combustion engines to modern hoverbikes. His grandfather always said, "Technology changes, but the principles stay the same. Listen to what the machine's telling you." As the veteran engineers ran their diagnostics, their amazement grew. Not only had the crystal core stabilized, but it was operating at higher efficiency than before. "How did you know this would work?" High Merchant Rel asked. Tom shrugged. "Humans have been fixing things we don't fully understand for centuries. From the first time we saw wheels to when we reversed-engineered alien tech that crashed on Earth. We learned that everything, no matter how advanced, follows certain basic rules. Once you understand those rules, the rest is just details." Captain Gray watched from the observation deck, smiling proudly. This was why human repair stations were becoming legendary. Other species might have more advanced technology, but humans had something special: the ability to see past complexity to find simple solutions. The veteran ship's crystal core pulsed with healthy light, its song now clear and strong. Another impossible repair made possible by the human touch. 2 months after the veteran crystal core repair, Captain Gray couldn't believe the change in Repair Station Beta 7's visitor logs. Where once they saw maybe 2 or 3 alien ships a week, now they were getting requests for repairs almost every day. "Another one coming in, Cap," Mike called from his station. "Looks like a Blue Star trader. Says they heard about us from the veterans." Gray watched the sleek blue ship approach on the main screen. News traveled fast in space, especially good news. High Merchant Rel had apparently told everyone who would listen about the humans who fixed an advanced crystal core with spare parts and basic tools. Bay 2 is clear, Gray replied. Let them know they can dock when ready. Tom walked into the control room, wiping engine grease from his hands. Just finished with that bug-like ship from the Hive cluster. You won't believe what their problem was. Try me, Gray said, turning from the screen. Their quantum navigation system was giving them wrong coordinates. Turns out a spacefly had made a nest in their main computer. A spacefly? In their quantum computer? Tom laughed. No other repair station would even look at it because they were afraid of damaging the quantum bits. We just used an old vacuum cleaner to suck out the nest. The control room crew chuckled. It was becoming a common story. Advanced aliens with complex problems finding simple solutions at Beta 7. Later that day, Gray sat in his office, reviewing the station's repair logs. The list of successful fixes was getting impressive. A damaged light sail repaired with ordinary solar panels. A stuck anti-gravity generator freed with cooking oil. A broken universal translator fixed with an old smartphone's speech recognition software. His computer beeped with an incoming message. It was from the Galactic Trade Council. Captain Gray, the alien official on the screen, looked like a giant praying mantis. We've been hearing interesting reports about your repair station. Some of them seem impossible. Nothing's impossible, Gray replied with a smile. Just sometimes a bit tricky. 3 different species have reported that your engineers fixed problems their own experts couldn't solve. The veterans are particularly vocal about your unusual methods. We just try to help where we can, Gray said modestly. Help? The official's antennae twitched. You fixed a Hive cluster quantum computer with a vacuum cleaner. Before Gray could respond, another alert flashed on his screen. A massive ship had just dropped out of faster-than-light travel nearby. Its design was unlike anything he'd seen before. I'll have to call you back, he told the Trade Council official. Duty calls. The new ship's captain appeared on the main screen. It looked like a floating cloud of light with eyes. Repair Station Beta 7. It said through a translator, we have traveled 40 light years to reach you. Our ship's main drive is failing, and we heard you can fix anything. Gray looked at the readings. The alien ship used technology so advanced it barely registered on their sensors. The repair would be challenging, maybe even impossible by normal standards. But Station Beta 7 didn't do normal. We'll help however we can, Gray assured the alien captain. That's what we're here for. As he called Tom to prepare for another impossible repair, Gray thought about how things had changed. Just a few months ago, they were a quiet repair station in a forgotten corner of human space. Now they were becoming famous across the galaxy. Not because they had the most advanced tools or the newest technology, but because they had something better: human creativity, determination, and the simple wisdom that sometimes the best solution was the simplest one. The station's communication system was buzzing with more repair requests coming in. Word was spreading through the stars. If you had a problem no one else could fix, the humans at Beta 7 would find a way. It was going to be another busy day at the galaxy's most unusual repair shop. The emergency alarm woke Captain Gray at 3 in the morning. This wasn't the normal alert for an incoming ship. This was the big one. The alarm they never wanted to hear. Captain to the control room immediately. Mike's voice cracked with tension. It's bad, sir. Really bad. Gray ran to the control room in his sleepwear, not bothering to change. The main screen showed a massive military vessel, easily the size of a small city. Red warning signs flashed all around its image. What are we looking at? Gray asked, trying to catch his breath. Imperial war cruiser, Mike replied, his fingers flying over the controls. Their main reactor is going critical. They've got over 2,000 crew members aboard. The ship's captain appeared on the screen. The alien looked like a mixture of a lion and an eagle, its feathered mane rippling with stress. This is War Commander Rix of the Imperial Fleet. Our reactor cooling systems have failed. We've already been turned away by 4 major repair stations. They say the risk is too high. Gray understood their fear. A reactor breach on a ship that size could take out everything within 1,000,000 kilometers. How long until critical failure? 3 hours, the commander replied grimly. Maybe less. Tom burst into the control room, already checking readings on his tablet. We need to get them into Bay 1. It's the only one big enough. The reactor could explode, Mike warned. We'd lose the whole station. If it explodes out there, we lose a lot more than the station, Tom countered. He looked at Gray. Your call, Cap. Gray thought about the 2,000 lives on that ship. He thought about his station's safety rating, about the insurance costs, about the regulations against working on military vessels. Then he thought about why he built this station in the first place. Bring them in, he ordered. They won. Now. The massive war cruiser moved slowly into position. It barely fit into the repair bay, its hull scraping against the safety barriers. The station's sensors screened warnings about radiation levels and power fluctuations. Tom led his repair team to the bay, wearing protective suits. The Imperial engineers met them at the airlock, their own suits gleaming with advanced technology. Our reactor uses controlled quantum fusion, one alien engineer explained. The cooling system is based on technology that won't be invented for another century on Earth. You can't possibly. Show me the system, Tom interrupted. He'd learned that when aliens started talking about how advanced their technology was, it usually meant they were scared. The reactor chamber was enormous. At its heart, artificial stars danced in a magnetic bottle, their power held in check by systems Tom had never seen before. But the problem wasn't in the fancy quantum technology. It was in the cooling system, and cooling was cooling, no matter how advanced the machine. The backup coolant pipes, Tom muttered, studying his readings. They're not quantum tech at all. They're just really fancy plumbing. He turned to his team. Get me every coolant pipe we have. And I need ice. Lots of ice. Ice? The Imperial engineers looked confused. Regular frozen water. The oldest coolant in the universe, Tom grinned. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways. As his team rushed to gather supplies, Tom looked at the reactor's pulsing heart. They had less than 2 hours now. 2 hours to save 2,000 lives with nothing but basic engineering and frozen water. The Imperial engineers watched in disbelief as the humans began their work. They didn't understand that this was where humans did their best work, when the stakes were highest, when the odds were against them, and when everyone else said it couldn't be done. The reactor's warning signals kept flashing, counting down to disaster. But Tom wasn't worried. He'd fixed the unfixable before. This was just another day at Beta 7, where the impossible was just another challenge to overcome. Time was running out. The Imperial war cruiser's reactor continued its march toward disaster as Tom and his team worked frantically in the massive engine room. Sweat dripped inside their protective suits despite the emergency cooling systems running at full power. 1 hour until critical failure, the ship's computer announced in its calm voice. The Imperial engineers watched in horror as Tom's team ignored all safety protocols. They had connected standard cooling pipes to the quantum systems, mixed different alien technologies that were never meant to work together, and were pumping regular frozen water through systems designed for exotic materials. This is madness, one Imperial engineer protested. You're mixing technologies from 6 different species. The safety regulations clearly state. Safety regulations won't matter if we're all dead, Tom replied, checking the readings on his tablet. Bill, how's that ice delivery coming? Bill's voice crackled over the radio. Loading the last batch now. We've emptied every freezer on the station, even raided the crew's ice cream supplies. Tom turned to the station's mechanical fabricator. They were using it to create new pipe connections, combining parts from a dozen different repair jobs. It wasn't pretty, but it was working. 50 minutes to critical failure, the computer reminded them. The Imperial War Commander appeared on a nearby screen. "Engineer Tom, the reactor temperature is still rising. Perhaps we should consider evacuation." "Not yet," Tom said, studying the reactor's pulsing core. "Look at the energy patterns. The quantum field is stabilizing. We just need more time." He grabbed his custom-built scanner, the one he'd made from old Earth parts and alien tech. The readings confirmed his theory. Their crazy plan was working, just not fast enough. "We need more power to the cooling systems," Tom announced. "Captain Gray, I need permission to do something really stupid." "Define stupid," Gray's voice came through the radio. "I want to connect our station's main power grid directly to the cooling system. All of it." There was a long pause. Everyone knew what that meant. If it didn't work, they'd lose all power to the station. No backup systems, no emergency protocols. They'd be dead in space. "Do it," Gray ordered. Tom's team moved fast, rerouting power cables and connecting systems that were never meant to meet. The Imperial engineers had stopped protesting. They just watched, caught between horror and hope. 20 minutes to critical failure. The reactor chamber hummed with energy as they activated the new connections. Emergency lights flickered throughout the station as power was diverted to the cooling systems. "Look," Bill pointed at the reactor's core. The angry red glow was fading, turning to a calmer blue. Tom checked his readings. "The quantum field is realigning. Core temperature dropping. We're going to." A massive power surge rocked the station. Sparks flew from control panels. For a terrifying moment, everything went dark. Then the emergency lights came back on. The reactor's angry roar had become a gentle hum. "Core temperature nominal," the ship's computer announced. "Quantum field stable. Reactor functioning within normal parameters." A cheer went up from the repair team. They had done it. Broken every rule in the book and saved 2,000 lives with ice, spare parts, and pure human stubbornness. The Imperial engineers stared at their own readings in disbelief. Not only was the reactor stable, but it was running more efficiently than before. "How?" the lead Imperial engineer asked. "This shouldn't be possible. You used parts from a dozen different species, violated every safety protocol, and cooled the quantum reactor with frozen water. It goes against everything we know about engineering." Tom smiled as he began disconnecting their emergency systems. "That's the thing about humans," he said. "We don't always know what's impossible. Sometimes that's our greatest strength." Captain Gray's voice came over the radio, filled with pride. "Well done, everyone. Though I think we might need to requisition some new ice cream for the crew." As the tension in the reactor room eased, Tom looked at his makeshift repair job. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't proper. It probably violated 100 different galactic regulations. But it worked. And in the end, that's what mattered at Beta 7. 1 week after the Imperial War Cruiser incident, Repair Station Beta 7 had more visitors than ever before. This time, they weren't ships needing repairs. They were officials from the Galactic Council itself. Captain Gray stood in his freshly pressed uniform, watching as the sleek diplomatic vessel docked in Bay 3. Tom and his repair team had spent 2 days cleaning the station, though they couldn't quite get rid of the smell of burned circuits and melted ice. "They're here to shut us down," Mike worried, adjusting his collar nervously. "We broke every safety regulation in the book." "Maybe," Gray replied calmly, "but we also saved 2,000 lives." The Galactic Council delegation consisted of representatives from 5 different species. Their leader was a tall, crystalline being who introduced herself as High Commissioner Vale. She moved through the station, scanning everything with glowing eyes. "Captain Gray," she said, her voice chiming like bells, "your repair station has caused quite a stir in Council space. Your methods are unusual. We prefer to think of them as effective," Gray answered. The High Commissioner's crystal surface rippled with what might have been amusement. "Indeed, we've reviewed your repair records. In the past 6 months, you fixed 37 impossible problems. You've combined technologies that our best scientists say are incompatible. You've ignored standard procedures, created makeshift tools, and generally broken every rule of proper engineering. Tom stepped forward. With all due respect, Commissioner, sometimes the rules need to be broken. Every species builds their technology differently. But basic principles of physics, mechanics, and problem-solving work the same everywhere. Exactly, another council member said. This one looked like a giant blue octopus. That's why we're here. We want to understand how you do it. The council members spread out through the station, examining repair logs and talking to crew members. They seemed particularly interested in the storage room full of Earth junk that Tom used for spare parts. You fixed a quantum drive with this. The octopus-like alien held up an old car alternator. Parts are parts, Tom shrugged. Sometimes the old technology works better because it's simpler. Less things to go wrong. High Commissioner Vale gathered everyone in the main conference room. The atmosphere was tense as she prepared to deliver the council's judgment. Captain Gray, Engineer Tom, crew of Beta 7, she began formally. The Galactic Council has reached a decision about your repair station. Here it comes, Gray thought. The shutdown order. We are officially designating Repair Station Beta 7 as a Special Technology Integration Center, Vale announced. You will receive full council funding and protection. Additionally, we want to establish a training program here. Other species need to learn your creative approach to problem solving. The room erupted in cheers. Tom dropped the wrench he'd been nervously fidgeting with. But our methods don't follow standard procedures, Gray said, amazed. Vale's crystalline form sparkled. Captain, your station has the highest success rate of any repair facility in known space. Your methods may be unconventional, but they work. The galaxy needs that more than it needs rigid adherence to regulations. As the council members talked about details, Gray looked around at his crew. They had started as a small repair station on the edge of human space. Now they were going to teach their methods to the galaxy. One condition, Vale added. You must maintain your current approach. We don't want you to become a standard repair facility. We want you to keep thinking human. Tom grinned. No danger of that, Commissioner. Breaking rules and fixing the impossible is what we do best. Outside in the repair bay, a new ship was docking. Another impossible problem waiting to be solved. But now, they wouldn't just fix it. They would teach others how to think beyond their limitations, how to see solutions where others saw only problems. Beta 7 was about to become the galaxy's school of human ingenuity. 6 months after the Galactic Council's decision, Repair Station Beta 7 looked very different. The repair bays were still busy with broken ships, but now they were also filled with alien engineers learning the human way of fixing things. Captain Gray stood at his favorite observation window, watching Tom teach a class of alien students. Today's lesson was about fixing a damaged light drive using parts from an old Earth television and some copper wire. But the manual says this is impossible. A tall, insect-like student protested. Manuals are just guidelines, Tom replied, hands deep in the engine. The universe doesn't read manuals. It follows basic rules of physics. Once you understand those rules, anything is possible. Gray smiled, remembering his own doubts when they first opened the station. Back then, everyone said humans were too primitive to work on advanced alien technology. Now those same species were sending their best engineers to learn from them. Mike walked up, holding his daily report tablet. You're going to like these numbers, Cap. Our success rate is still 100%, even with the students doing repairs. How many ships this month? 57. Everything from small traders to another war cruiser. Word keeps spreading. A small blue alien student floated up to them, its eyes glowing with excitement. Captain Gray, I just fixed my first quantum drive. Using the method Tom taught you. Yes, I stopped thinking about the quantum mechanics and treated it like a basic engine. Tom says the principles are the same. even if the technology is different. That was the secret that had made Beta 7 famous, the human ability to see past complexity to the simple rules underneath. Where other species got lost in theoretical physics and advanced mathematics, humans looked for practical solutions. In Bay 4, a group of students was learning about Earth's history of repairs. They watched in amazement as Tom showed them videos of old mechanics fixing cars, plumbers fixing pipes, and engineers solving problems with basic tools. Your species went from horse-drawn carriages to starships in just a few centuries, one student said. How? Because we had to, Tom explained. We couldn't wait for perfect solutions. We had to fix things with whatever we had. That's why we're good at repairs. We learned to be creative out of necessity. Gray walked through the station, proud of what they had become. Each repair bay told a story. A crystal ship being fixed with sound waves, a gravity drive repaired with magnets from Earth refrigerators, a time-space stabilizer adjusted with parts from an old clock. In his office, he found a message from High Commissioner Vale. The Council was planning to open 5 more human-run repair stations across the galaxy. They wanted Gray to help choose the locations and staff. Did you ever think we'd end up teaching advanced aliens how to fix their own ships? Mike asked, bringing in the afternoon reports. Not in a million years, Gray laughed. But that's the funny thing about humans. We don't just fix machines. We fix how people think about fixing them. As if to prove his point, an alarm sounded. A new ship was arriving, its engines making strange noises that even the advanced aliens couldn't understand. Another impossible repair? Mike asked. No such thing as impossible, Gray replied, heading to the repair bay. Just problems we haven't solved yet. The repair station hummed with activity, aliens and humans working together, sharing knowledge, finding solutions. In every bay, the human touch was changing how the galaxy thought about technology. They had proved that sometimes the best solutions don't come from the most advanced civilization. Sometimes they come from the species that never learned it couldn't be done. That was humanity's gift to the galaxy. Not advanced technology or complex theories, but the simple belief that with enough creativity, determination, and basic understanding, anything could be fixed. And that was worth more than all the advanced technology in the universe.